2023. Nigerian businessman jailed for fraud in US picks PDP nomination form. Welcome to the news and please subscribe to our channel. Uche Ben Odunze, commercial property manager contesting a seat in the House of Representatives for Osu Oru Imo East Federal Constituency on the platform of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) is an ex-convict in the United States, People Gazette found this week. Mr. Odunze, 41, was sentenced to prison on January 17, 2013 under the name Uche Ben Odunze for defrauding the American Center for Medicare and Medicaid System (CMS). He now answered Odunze as a surname to vie for a seat in the lower parliamentary chamber at the upcoming general elections. Mr. Odunze had lied to the U.S. government to claim remuneration for supplying sophisticated high-end wheelchairs K0011 when his company, Emerald Medical, only provided cheap and basic wheelchairs to beneficiaries of the Medicaid health program. The Nigerian deportee was paid $6,157 per K0011 spec wheelchair, almost twice the price of the basic chairs he supplied, earning himself a whopping $232,470 more than the actual cost of equipment delivered. In addition to the chair scam, Mr. Odunze also swindled the U.S. government to the tune of $44,913 for adult incontinence items, diapers, briefs, liners, disposable underparts, and gloves that he did not deliver to Medicaid beneficiaries. Guilty of the one-count charge of defrauding the government, Mr. Odunze opted for a plea deal that reduced his sentence to 19 months for forfeiture of $277,383 to the American government and deportation because he had been living illegally in the United States before his arrest and conviction. He was also slammed with 3 years of supervisory release. Following his return to Nigeria, Mr. Odunze started promoting himself as a real estate investor and received flowing praises in the section of the Nigerian media. But he stayed away from contesting political position until 2023. Apparently acquainted with the constitutional provision that allow criminals to run for office after 10 years of their conviction, Section 66(1)(a) of the Nigerian Constitution said, "No person shall be qualified for election to the Senate or the House of Representatives if within a period of less than 10 years before the date of an election of a legislative house he has been convicted and sentenced for an offense involving dishonesty or he has been found guilty of a contravention of the Code of Conduct." The National Assembly elections will be held on February 25, 2023, according to a timetable released by the Electoral Office, INEC. Mr. Odunze's sentence will be 10 years on January 17, 2023, roughly 6 weeks before the date of election. But his ability to bypass the high security measures of the American healthcare program and the fraudulent government could hand his opponent potent campaign material and dominate discussion when electioneering officially opens for 2023 poll in Nigeria, a nation beset by acute corruption and insecurity. The Gazette could not independently verify whether or not Mr. Odunze started his real estate business with proceeds of his ill-gotten capital in the U.S., a practice seen more often than not in Nigeria. Between 1999 and early 2000, several politicians, including James Ibori and Bola Tinubu, were elected into top political offices, and their profile soared despite conviction in the U.S. When reached for comment by telephone, Mr. Odunze, who initially affirmed his identity after picking up, said it was a wrong number upon learning the call was about his criminal history in the United States. A spokesman for the PDP did not return the Gaza request seeking comment about whether or not the party uncovered Mr. Odunze's nefarious history during screening of aspirants. Wow. My blame goes to INEC. INEC does not have a criteria for selecting people. Not even one. They don't have a criteria for selecting people at all. These people, they don't have a criteria. First of all, there's some group of people that are not even supposed to come out to contest. They're not meant to come out to contest at all. When you look at their past, when you look at how poorly they behave if they had ever been in government or a ministerial position or in any position at all, you look at these people and say, no, now, these ones, they cannot come to deliver. But of course, you see INEC distributing forms, selling forms to party members and telling them to give or sell to whoever. At the end of the day, we end up having criminals at the helm of affairs. But when somebody commits a crime, the person is being treated like a criminal because the person has motive, right? He has come home to join his colleagues. This is Nigeria, where criminals become presidents and governors. More of them will come in very soon. Even with evidences to challenge them, they will still have their way. That does not allow Nigeria to be a dumping ground for these things, though. Bunch of criminals in Nigeria politics. That is why the country is going backward every day. Why only him escaped his minor? What of Ibori, Alama Esigbe, and several others? Is Obasanjo and the all so-called governors and senators not criminals? Why don't you reject Tinubu, who was equally convicted in the same USA for various crimes and called an ex-convict openly by his party man El-Rufai? Why couldn't I leave me? The chicken has come home to his roost, the den of the rogues. Mr. Reporter, how many of these political office seekers are free from fraud? Of all who are contesting for presidential seats, how many of them are clean? If you're sincere, tell us about each one of our contestants. Jailed man in US is a sentence in Nigeria. Our politicians here, if not for US, it will be a life sentence for them. But a criminal is a criminal. He should be counted down or not to disgrace the nation. We no longer want people like his character. A leopard cannot change his skin. My own INEC 9 follow bring all this matter. Criteria should have been in place. Criteria that should have been in place. Like this. But Bele, did he defraud your father or your brother? He does business and you were not there to know the terms and conditions. It is all about a clear and clean conscience. You do seem to share something in common. Okay. This type of situation is no longer new. Perhaps another culture of acceptable corruption in our nation. Let's pray for good leadership and followers with positive attitudinal change. God save our nation. We are suffering and smiling. Sanwo-Olu, the governor of Lagos State, was also an ex-convict in America. Are you serious? It'd be like say Nigeria has a history of making ex-convicts to be the people who represent them in government. Okay, on this note, we've come to the end of the news. We say thank you for tuning in to listen. Until I come your way next time, enjoy the rest of your day.